Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick story time. I guess surprise, surprise, I'm gay. Okay, so what I'm gonna talk about is a moment in my life that I guess changed and made me change my perspective on things and affected me more than I wanted it to. Um, I want to accomplish with this video, I guess, is document this part of my life because I know I won't give credit to myself in the future and I'll forget because I know. Story time. Freshman year of college, I was excited to start the year from California to North Carolina. I applied to this school last minute. I got accepted. I went to it. It was mostly a culinary based school. I went in for business administration, because it's all about the money, is what I went there for, for that degree. Didn't like it. Too small of a school, knew everyone. So I had to find a college that was big enough that I liked, that was nearby, 15 minutes away, and I applied to it. But anyway, that's a little backstory. So around March of that school year, freshman year of college, I was on Tinder. I guess I was looking for like wholesome type of relation, with somebody. And so I happened to swipe right on this guy. He was cute. He was nearby. I said, "Hey, what are you doing? Um, are you free this weekend?" Because it was my spring break, and I guess it was his spring break too. He's a year older than me, so at the time, I was freshman. He was a sophomore. Carolina. He went to school like in Boone, 2 hours away. 2 hours away. Um, Let me get some tea. So I hit him up. I was like, "What are you doing this weekend?" And so we ended up going to the theaters and watched Red Sparrow. And so we went there. Um, the movie was nice. We were there holding hands. It was so awkward because I was like, "What do I do? Is this too early?" It's like this is my first type of real relation I had in college. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was scared, but we ended up making out towards the end in the theaters. It was nice or whatever. Drove me back because I didn't have a car. And I in contact after that. He went back to his college, 2 hours away. I continued my school, but we would talk every other night. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go visit you, okay?" And I was kidding at first, but then he didn't believe me, so I actually went to go do it. And so I booked the trip. The day came, and I'm like, "All right, I'm getting on." And he was excited. I was excited. I got to his dorm. He offered to get me some food. We just stayed in his dorm, cuddling or whatever. And he had like a dance to go to, for his club. And so we went there. We went to the dance. It was nice. We went back to his dorm. I had to take a shower, got ready for bed. I started drinking. And it was like a sloppy drunk. I was a sloppy drunk because Ariana Grande's song came out, No Tears Left to Cry, and he decided to play it. And I'm just like, ugh, no, because I was thinking of the summer. For me, I feel like I always think about the future, like, is this gonna last? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, this is laid off into the year. Like, we're about to go home, or at least I'm about to go home to Cali. And it's like all these emotions plus the alcohol. I was being so emotional. I was like, "Yo, no, we're not gonna last. You're probably gonna leave." He reassured me. It was cute. It's like, "No, it will be fine over the summer." At this point, we both didn't say we were anything, but we were like, our feelings were mutual, but we didn't say anything about, "Oh, we're this or that." Go back home. He texts me saying, "Oh, can I put this as a my screensaver or whatever?" And it was a picture of us from the dance. I was like, "Oh my god!" In my head, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is so fast. Like, I don't know what we're doing. Like, it's crazy. This guy's likes me a lot." And me seeing oh, he's gonna put me as his wallpaper. I'm like, that's a big step. And so I kind of assumed okay, we're gonna last. He actually feels something, there's some potential there with us. Because why else would you put us as a screensaver? Okay, so then time passes. We still talk. We start talking about the future a bit. What summer's gonna be like, and I know I'm gonna go home because I have nowhere to stay here. and he's gonna go back to like living in like the city. I was kind of worried. I was like, I don't know if we could do this. Like, we don't know each other that well for us to last through a summer, you know? So I was worried, but he surprised me. He was like, hey, I have time before you leave. I could come down and visit you for a week. I'm like, you're fucking lying, you know? You're fucking lying. And so he ended up staying up for a week, and like, it was fun. He met my friend. My friends liked him. Except there was some things I didn't like that he did. And I know what went wrong too, with what went wrong with on my part. I know now that I could be too pushy on some topics, not topics, but like I could play around too much. And like I played around a lot with him to a point where I didn't realize that he was really sensitive about these. Like he told me, but like it didn't really register. I was like, oh, I mean, he's not that sensitive. Like it's not a big deal. But he was really sensitive, and I would push his buttons a lot because I would make fun of that certain thing. And like I've worked on it. Like I've worked on it now. But it's something I didn't realize before. And I was like, what are you talking about? You know. And I know that's a fault of mine. And that is why it's a fault of mine. But anyways, the week that he stayed over, I just noticed some things. He had like a little negative view of people. I wouldn't say of people, but like a random people. If he saw something like he didn't like, he was like, "Oh, why would they do that?" I'm like, like why do you care? I just didn't like that. I didn't really tell him, but it's just something I didn't like, and I was like, I don't like that. Like, don't tell me stuff like that. Like, leave them alone. Let them be. Because I was just like, you do you. But overall, we ended with like kind of like not sure what we were gonna do for the summer, but he just reassured me like, oh, we'll be fine for the summer, and like I'm like, okay, because I was really worried, and I really liked him, and I don't think he knew that, and I think he like really liked me too, because of just the way we acted with each other. Like even my friends thought that we'd be together or whatever. Ew. Okay, let me stop. Like my friends thought we were like a good couple. Like I'm just like, okay, whatever, boo. And so summer hits, and this is where it gets blurry, because I go home fine, and talk to him every now and then when I can, because when I'm home I usually like disconnect a bit from everyone. But I was still talking to him pretty frequently, and I texted him like, and I was just telling him like, all right, I'm gonna tell you something, but you better not take advantage of me, all right? And I was under the influence, but like I was feeling the buzz, and I was like, all right, I really like you, but yeah, just don't take advantage of that, because like for me, saying that is like a big step. Just anything that's related to like feelings, like I like you or I miss you, I love related or like related, or very like ooey gooey, like ugh, it just makes me like ugh, like cringe, like I can't say it. To me, saying that to him was like, I really liked him. It was weird because something was off. Some questions like, oh, I know I was asking some questions just to get, like, for me to find out people's intentions. I usually ask questions, and questions that are, I wouldn't say kind of like go different routes, because it gives me a sense. I ask questions that help me understand their way of thinking, understand the way of doing things. And when I asked him some questions, I totally forgot what questions I asked him. There's a response or a reaction that I came out of it where I was like, something's not right. Like something's not right, as in like he realized something that he didn't consider, when I asked him a question. Because right after we ended the conversation, when I was like kind of like intoxicated, I felt weird. I was like, oh no. 5 minutes later, sure enough, he texted me saying, hey, I don't think I could do this, like the long distance. I thought I could, but I can't. And I was like, why not? And then he realized that he doesn't really want to date anyone while in college. While in college, he needs to focus on his school, whatever, which is understandable. But like, and this is where I messed up too. I wasn't understanding. I didn't want to hear that, and so I reacted the way I reacted. Like now, like I appreciate that you told me at that time, but me at that time was not for it. I was really mixed with emotions. I was felt betrayed. I felt guilt. I felt angered. I felt so many emotions. I don't know which one was winning. But I just said, why the hell would you like swipe on me and like do all this like, oh, kind of like assume. I kind of like assume we were going somewhere because like the fact that he wanted me as his wallpaper and the fact that we were thinking about the future together kind of. And I'm like he really led me on, you know, like, and you just realizing that now, like I was just so mad. And like I should have probably like handled it a different way and different route and more maturely, but it was my first type of thing like that, and so I didn't know how to deal with it because I really liked him, and so just something took a hold of me, and I was like, I think I like unadded him and like kind of like blocked him for a second, but I couldn't like do it for too long because I needed to hear what he had to say. It was just ugh. It was, I grew, right? I grew as a person. And I think he didn't like that I did that. He said I was acting childish. And it was just like a lot of back and forth. Like, you know, he would say this, I would say that. And then I finally like sucked it up. I was like, okay, you know, like my emotions are kind of like on check now. Let me just try to come back. I'm like, all right. Like, you know. But this is where my craziness came out. I was like, okay, you know, he really messed me up. So let me try to lure him, you know, attach him, get him attached to me. And then I can say, oh, never mind, we're not a thing, you know. Like, oh, like leading him on is basically what I wanted to do to him. So that's why I sucked it up. Because I was like, let me do this because I want him to feel what I felt, you know, like. And so I ended up fudging myself over because I couldn't do it. I was being too affectionate to the point where I was like, oof, I need to stop. But he kept on going. It was feeding him or whatever. But it just wasn't me anymore. I was like, this is not me. I cannot be this affectionate. I was just being affectionate because I knew he liked it. And that's how I was going to get him to, like, you know, be more attached to me and me lead him on. And so it was just a whole bad situation. And I just fudged myself over. But we weren't really talking. I kind of like said, like, hey, you know, can we at least attempt? I actually was like, this is my genuine feelings. I was like, can we actually attempt to try something between each other? And then this is where it gets blurry because it's been a minute, like I said. And I tried to say, like, when we get back, let's try to, you know, start things again, or at least talk about things or where things went wrong, you know, where we're at fault. It was just like a series of like back and forth, like let's talk, let's not talk. And anyways, we finally agreed of like, okay, let's Labor Day, fall 2018, yeah, fall 2018. And at this point, during the summer, I was kind of like waiting on a letter for like the university that I applied to. Because like I said, I was applying to a new university at this time. And it was 15 minutes away from my original one that I was started off with, where all my friends were. And so I was kind of like, in the summer, I was really like sad. And it was just a lot of things that were on my mind because of that situation. And like, I couldn't really tell anyone because I wasn't out yet. I couldn't tell my parents. I didn't feel like I could tell my parents at that point. my friends either, because I was kind of like scared, like, okay, who do I tell? Who do I not tell? I think I told one or two. But most of my friends back in North Carolina were the ones that only knew, and I didn't really talk to them often because I didn't want to bother them. I felt I felt like a rejection already. Like I didn't want to like try to reach out because I felt like it was just like I didn't want to hurt anymore. And so I started this university with my mom. She helped me move in, and after she left, it was really lonely. Like my roommates were all in their room. Um, they were all seniors. They all kept to themselves. Um, they never really like greeted each other, just like a hey, and it was just me. I didn't know anyone at this campus. I wasn't a freshman, so I didn't go to any of the orientations. So I kind of had to do this thing all by myself. And there was some programs, but I really did not find the energy to go by myself. Like I really, like that time that I was waiting for us to meet again, it was hell, to be honest, because I couldn't concentrate as much as I wanted to. Like I'm thinking of him, thinking of the situation, thinking of like where we're gonna be. It was just really toxic, and I did not like that. It made me that point, like that obsessive, where I was like, okay, you probably need to talk to someone, you know, like a psychologist. And like I do things, like I feel like I'm a pretty like healthy person mentally. Like in the past, I would pick up new hobbies, and I did pick up a hobby. It was poems, but it felt like it wasn't enough, you know. And like I felt like maybe there's something a psychologist would do that maybe I'm not focusing on, because whenever I get sad or frustrated, I would always like go take a run or go outside, take a walk, because that would always help me when I was younger. But like these, like it would make me feel good, but it would come right back right after I exercise, and I'm like, why is this feeling still with me? Like why am I still sad? You know, like why? I don't want to be at this point. You know, and it was just like a really hard, tough time, honestly. Oh my god, I'm tearing up. I was going through it, all right, and like I didn't make much friends here at the university. My first year here as a sophomore, I was too intimidated. Um, like all this feeling of rejection, feeling of sadness, starting a new environment. I was just kind of comfortable being by myself, you know. Like as a kid, I grew up being very to myself. You know, I don't really need anyone. I grew up like that. And then in high school, I was like, I wanted to change it, and so I changed to being an outgoing person. You know, and so I carried that through college, my freshman year. However, during the summer after that incident, like, and we're just going that little battle, like, oh, you know, I'm like, okay, let's talk about it and everything. Like, I would just kind of made me battle this internal instinct that I had of just staying to myself and being introverted rather than extroverted and outgoing and talking to people, getting out of my comfort zone, you know, because I already done it with going to college across the country from California to North Carolina. So that was something, you know, and the fact that I had to do it again, but a new university and start all over again, and the fact that I had to do it basically alone, you know, with those feelings of rejection, battling with, oh, you know, being introvert rather than extrovert. It was just really hard to muster up the courage to actually do that again and like find people to talk to. And like it was like really hard, to be honest. Like it affected me so much. And like that's why I want to talk about it too, because I don't give myself enough credit sometimes of like how far I've come. And like, yeah, I just don't give myself credit. Like I forget too sometimes. Oh my god. These are not fake, you guys. These are real. So enjoy them. Yeah, I've really come a long way. And I'll tell you why. but let me finish the story. No friends for like August all the way to like November, October, till October. Just go to class, come back home, go to the caf, eat, come back to my dorm, and repeat. And I guess what helped me survive was like my friends back in my other university. Um, so there's like this light rail that we have here that it goes all the way up to Uptown, and I guess that was like my glory, my heaven sent or whatever, because it enabled me to go visit my friends in Uptown that were at my other university often. And I would, like, every time I was bored or sad or the weekend, I would always go over there. I didn't mind it because it would keep me away from my thoughts and like the feeling of being alone. And like it was weird because like I wanted to be alone, but I didn't want to be alone. Like it was like a battle. It was a weird battle. It was so weird. And so that's why I didn't make friends here, honestly, because I mostly went over there to the other university often. It was basically like I still went there. And so my friends helped me out. My friend Jasmina, she went to go visit me here often. That helped me a lot, honestly. I thank her so much. And what else? And then I met someone here that helped me make more connections with more friends. And I was like, okay, I'm starting to do it slowly but surely, because I just wanted a one-time cure to cure everything. I guess it was just time, and it was time that healed it, and like preventing cycles from happening. And then there were just situations where it'd be off and on. He'd be like, hey, you want to start something again? And then he'd be like, oh no, never mind. It was just a cycle. And I want to thank, like, I'm not ashamed of that part of my life, because it really helped me a lot. Like, I guess it like restarted something. It was an experience. I never felt anything like that before, which I'm glad I felt something like that, similar. Not similar, but like I'm glad I felt something. I tried hitting him up again, and I'm like, okay. And this is where miscommunication again happened, where I was like, hey, do you mind, like, this is coming from a good place, with no ill intentions. Do you mind if I go visit you so we could have this closure talk about closure? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. Let me know when. I'm like, okay, do you mind? And he's like, just let me know, when. I'm like, okay. And so I was thinking like, okay, let me do this fast, because I was really impatient. I was like, okay, I really need to see him. He pushed it off like for like 3-4 months already prior to that. So I was already dealing with it by myself like that. So this is where the miscommunication happened, was where I was picking like the dates for the bus to take over there to go visit him, to go talk. And he's like, you're so inconsiderate. Like, why would you do this? Like, without telling me. And I was like, what? Like, you knew I was gonna come. Like, I told you in advance, so I wouldn't be a bother, you know? Because I was really considerate. I felt like I was really considerate. I was like, okay, let me tell him days in advance, you know? And I'm pretty sure he said he was free that weekend. So I was like, okay, let me just do it for that weekend. He got mad that it was that weekend. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, I'll leave. I won't be in your way. Like, I really don't mind waiting for you. Like, it's not that bad, you know? And like, he was like, no, you're inconsiderate. I don't know why you even need to talk face to face. Like, I got over it. I mean, you should have gone over it by now. And keep in mind, he's studied, his major is psychology. And I think now it's neuroscience or neuropsychology. He was like, yeah, I don't know why you need to talk face to face. Like, I got over it. You're acting like we're married. You're acting, yeah, you're acting like we were married and whatever. And I was like, I told you why I need to talk to you face to face. I just feel like it's better. Like, it's something I feel like would help me. And yet you're still asking, like, why I need this. Like, I told you why. Like, it's going to help me. Like, I don't want to, like, I didn't want to explain too much because I knew he would be like, why don't we just talk about it here? Like, I don't want to do that. Like, it's not going to work. Like, it's, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being stubborn, but me just wanting to see him. I don't know. And I didn't want to explain the whole, oh, you know, Ariana and Selena going to like a mental institution because, you know, she had a breakdown, and Ariana Grande being, not being crazy, but like being sad and everything after everything she's went through. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go through that. You know, I don't want to bring that up because I just felt like I didn't. But like, that's why I was pressing so hard to meet him face to face, because I'm like, I do not want to end up wanting to get that bad. Like, I want to resolve this now, you know, because it's my mental health on the line. And like, he basically was like, yeah, it's not like we're married. And then this is where he hits me with, we were never a thing. We were never a thing, is what he told me after that. And then I don't know what happened after that. I think I said, okay, fine. You know what? It's cool. Like, I think, yeah, I think he was judging my grammar or whatever. And I was typing on my broken ass iPod at that point. And like, it was just really bad. Like, it like really scarred me. Like, it was a big step back. Like, a big step back. Like, from being outgoing to being like kind of like going out of my comfort zone to going back to my shell and learning to take a step forward and to make a leap to the uncomfortness, you know. And so I bring it up now because it's been what, 2018 to 2020. I've grown a lot. I met new friends, back to this new university, again, moved in, made more friends, and I'm just better. Like, I'm just focusing on me, to be honest. And I also bring it back up because we ended on mutual terms in the end, because I tried to, again, schedule, you know, oh, can we talk to this? And I was kind of like wanting to do a video with him too, you know, because I wanted to get both sides of the story, because I know there were some things I did that were, you know, messed up, you know, like, and I could like own up to that, like, and I know there's some details that I forgot because it's been so long, and it's just so much. And I just wanted to give his side of the story because I thought it'd be entertaining too, you know, like, and like, he wasn't down for that, and I was like, okay, it's fine. And then we ended up like, okay, let's just promise, because he was postponing it again, like talking face to face, like, because he wanted to come back to my life, but he never did it. And I was like, okay, you know, it's fine. Like, and I was like over it at that point. I was like, you've done this multiple times where you're like, okay, I'll do this and that. Like, I'll come talk to you, but I have to get gas. Oh, I don't have a car. And this, I'm like, you know, there's always like, he would always bring up reasons. But I was like, you know, it's fine. We don't have to talk face to face. Let's just settle this as mutually, you know, we're good. Let's just make sure we don't fall for each other again or whatever. And I jokingly said, all right, just don't fall for me again. All right, cool. And that was that. And I low-key unfollowed him on Instagram. and he continued to follow me. And I bring it up again because he swiped up on one of my stories and he just wanted to make casual talk. And it was happened to be 4 days after Valentine's Day, and I was like, is this a coincidence, or you like? He was just lonely, honestly. That's my perspective. He was just lonely, and he just wanted someone to talk to because he offered to come visit me or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm fine, you know. I don't want to be fudged up again, but maybe I do. I'm just kidding. And that was just part of it, and I kind of left them on red because, I mean, I talked, but then the conversation was going nowhere unless I said something else, so I just left it. And then 2 days later, he posted something about his test where it was a test about relationships, and like he was like, oh, I've never been in one, so I don't know how I could take this. And I guess that kind of triggered me and kind of brought back all the emotions. I'm like, I forgot you were the one that said we were never a thing, you know? And like, I feel like that's what needs to be, like, when you're like talking to someone, you got to make sure you guys are on the same page. You guys are on the same page on certain definitions, because people's definitions about things are not the same all the time. And like, that's what I had to learn. And I done really good with that. And then there was another story, another incident. Fudged me up too. But that's another story. But overall, thank you for listening. I kind of teared up there. Moral of the story is, give yourself credit when you go through things, you know? Like, it was a long journey, honestly, but there's just a video recording of me documenting what I've been through and like seeing, like, I want to look at this video, I don't know, I guess 5 years from now, and like, I guess remember that I did this, you know, like I've overcame this part of my life where I thought it wasn't gonna end, you know, like, it's done, time has passed, I've healed, I've learned a lot. I hope you guys liked my journey. I hope it wasn't too confusing. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. And I'll see you next time.